The lawn that you see behind me, that's my lawn. It looks pretty good from far away, but up close, it does not look that great. Let's quickly go over there. I'll show you. What you see here is predominantly annual ryegrass. That's the green. Annual ryegrass dies in the springtime as summer temperatures start approaching. Towards the end of its life cycle, it will die every year on its own. Towards the end of its life cycle, it starts putting up things that don't really look like leaves. These are essentially stems that are attempting to go to seed. It's an annual plant, just like an annual weed. Here is an example of a stem that's actually starting to go to seed. I cut this grass 5 days ago, so it doesn't take long. In fact, as you look through the yard, you're gonna see what appears to be almost only stems popping up. Certainly there are leaves, but the leaves are looking really scraggly because the grass is really starting to put all of its energy into seed production. That means stems and seed heads. When you look down at the space, it does look thick because it's been growing for about 6 to 7 months now, but it really just doesn't have the same appeal that it had in the middle of winter. That's why some people call it winter rye. There's a lot of people out there who have put down winter rye over dormant Bermuda or other warm season grass lawns for years and years and years. And one of the biggest decisions that people have to make, the people that do this, is do you kill off the winter rye in the springtime so that the warm season grass, in this case Bermuda, can come back into bloom? Or do you just let Mother Nature take care of the whole situation? Let the annual rye die on its own. For the last 4 months, I assumed I was going to let Mother Nature do the entire process all by itself. Once temperatures come up, as spring starts transitioning towards summer, all of this annual rye is literally going to die. But what I didn't understand, or I didn't really understand the fact that at the end of its life cycle, this plant really wants to go to seed. You have to cut it all the time. I don't care if it's tall cut or short cut, you have to cut annual ryegrass, winter ryegrass constantly because it really stops putting its energy into leaf production and starts pushing almost all of its energy into stem and seed head production. The best way to naturally transition this annual ryegrass into the Bermudagrass, which you see right here, this little square right here, is mostly Bermudagrass that has just recently come out of winter dormancy. But there's still some annual rye in there. Look, can you even see a leaf on this? I haven't cut this in 5 days. Stem, 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 stem. There's like barely any leaf whatsoever. I could just let nature transition my annual rye to the Bermudagrass, but I got to deal with all of these ugly stems constantly for who knows how long. I have no idea when air temperatures out here are going to get well into the 90s, because that's what it takes for the annual ryegrass to fully die. And until then, I have to keep cutting these stems every couple days, otherwise they start going to seed, just like you're seeing right here, and right here, and right here. It's relentless. And if you want to do the natural transition, the annual ryegrass, like the leaves and the stems, shade the soil surface so that it takes longer for the soil to warm up and for the Bermudagrass to really start growing vigorously. The Bermudagrass or other warm season grass, like over here I've got buffalo, it's the same thing. Buffalo needs warm soil also. If you've got a warm season grass, the soil really has to be warm for it to start taking off and start growing more aggressively than the annual grass. So you could come out here and mow every day or two on the lowest setting possible to keep these stems down, to keep the Bermudagrass underneath or the warm season grass underneath exposed to the sunlight, or you can just kill it off. And that's what I have ultimately decided to do to this lawn. I'm going to kill the annual ryegrass off, along with the broadleaf weeds, which you don't really see until they get up close. Boom. See? I'm not going to go through the whole yard. They're all over the place. I've got that stuff. And at the exact same time, in the exact same application, I'm going to take the Bermuda grass, my warm season grass in this lawn, and make it the darkest green it could possibly be for this time of year, all in one application. It takes me longer to make this video than it does to actually do the application. 2 products, that's all it takes. Wait a second, I see 3 products here. I'm only gonna be applying 2. The product that I'm applying, because I live in California, is Certainty. Certainty uses sulfursulfuron. Sulfursulfuron is going to attack some sedges, although not very aggressively. The broadleaf weeds is going to attack Kalinga, which is very closely related to sedges. And it's going to also attack Poa trivialis, Poa annua, and other cool season grasses. You wouldn't be applying this product to a cool season lawn, let's put it like that. For the most part, you would pretty much never have an annual rye or a winter rye growing in a cool season lawn, so you wouldn't have any need to do this. Sulfursulfuron is capable of killing Poa annua. So if you have Poa annua in your lawn, which is very common for anyone putting down a winter rye, you have to seed winter rye in the fall. So if you're seeding winter rye, there's no really good way to apply a pre-emergent. Therefore, you're going to have Poa annua. Sulfursulfuron is going to attack the Poa annua. If you happen to have nutsedge in your lawn, it's going to attack the nutsedge. It's not the best product for nutsedge, but at least you're going to be attacking it. And in my case, because I've got annual rye, winter rye, it's going to kill that too. I know that for a fact because I tested it 3 months ago on a small patch here in my lawn. I killed off the annual rye in this one little spot that contains a lot of Bermudagrass. This square is a little bit hard to see right now, but I do have images of it a couple months ago where you could clearly see the annual ryegrass has died. Right now, all of the Bermudagrass has come back to life as it is not dormant anymore, so it's all green, so it's a little bit harder to see the spot. Now, in addition to this product right here needs to go down and needs to be sprayed using a tank sprayer or a backpack sprayer or some sort of fancy sprayer, some sort of magic sprayer. This needs to be sprayed on the leaf material. So you want to make sure that you haven't cut the grass in a while. So in this case, my lawn right here has not been mowed for 5 days. I typically mow my lawn every 1, 2 to 3 days, depending on what's going on in my life. 5 days is extreme for me. This is very long. The reason that we do that is because there's going to be more leaf material for the active ingredient to go on. It's going to go onto the leaf material and get sucked in. It's basically a poison for the target plants and it's going to die. Now, if I wasn't applying an herbicide that needs to get absorbed by the leaf, I would probably fertilize at the same time. Fertilizer, this is a 15% nitrogen product. 15% nitrogen is going to push green growth. The problem is with this kind of nitrogen or any other fertilizer, it needs to go into the soil, usually, for the root systems to suck it up and make the plant grow. So if I wasn't applying an herbicide, I would apply something like this, 15% nitrogen with 6% liquid iron. Iron is going to bring up that green immediately, like within 1 to 2 days. And then the nitrogen is going to continue pushing extra green and growth. But I can't use this because this needs to go into the soil. So instead of using this, I'm going to go ahead and use only the iron because the foliar tissues of the grass can absorb iron, liquid chelated iron, and cause the grass to deepen its green. So it's going to go from a yellow to a green, or from a green to a deeper green. And that's what I want because I'm trying to kill off a lot of grass in there, which is going to start browning out in the next couple weeks. This product right here, sulfursulfuron, is really what we're after. Sulfursulfuron is the active ingredient. It needs to get put into a gallon of water. There is a scooper that is in this box, like it just comes with the box. All you need to do is do the big scoop for the high dose in 1 gallon of water for 1,000 square feet. So we're talking the math is insanely easy. So here in my tank sprayer, I have 1 gallon of water. I put 1 large scoop of the Certainty product in there. Because I can't put this down, like it'd be wasteful to put this down with the nitrogen in it, I'm gonna go ahead and put only liquid iron. This is very common, by the way, to find products that contain nitrogen and iron. Both of them are gonna push immediate and sustained green growth. So if you've got a lawn that's looking sad, nitrogen and iron are going to make it look stellar very, very fast. But it has to go into the soil. Since I'm not putting it on the soil, that's where this product comes in. Liquid chelated iron all by itself is foliar absorbed, just like the herbicide. That's why I put them together. If you look at the back of this bottle, it tells you apply 4 ounces per 500 square feet in 1 gallon of water. I've got 1 gallon of water over there. So that's basically going to be a half rate of iron. I suppose I could apply this on 2 consecutive days. Apply the herbicide on day 1, apply the iron on day 2, and have different volumes of water so that I could get a full application of iron. But I don't think that's very necessary because this lawn is looking pretty good. I don't think I need a full application. A half application is really gonna be awesome all by itself. This Certainty product can be bought online. It's probably purchasable in some stores across the country. I have personally never seen it in any store that I live next to, so I bought it online myself. It comes with this little scooper right here. You get a small scooper right here for smaller dose applications, bigger scooper for the high rate applications. Inside, it's these little granules, these little like cylindrical granules. Oh, I just spilled a few. I'm gonna have to clean that up. These little things right here, when you put that into water in your tank, they dissolve. It's a very simple product to use. It's very economical because you're not paying for the water. You just add it yourself on site. This thing lasts a good long time unless you have a ridiculously large sized area. But even still, in my opinion, it's not that expensive. There goes the box. All right, I picked the box back up. Liquid iron, as you can see, is very dark. It is staining for concrete, so you just have to be careful applying to the concrete. I have never personally stained any of my concrete before. See this staining right here? I didn't do that. Someone lived in this house before me, and it looks like rust. I should probably clean that up somehow. But if you are spraying liquid iron next to sidewalks and concrete, especially these light colored pieces of concrete, then be careful. Not that big of a deal, but just be careful. Don't just go crazy dribbling it all over the place. If you're gonna pour this out, pour it on like something that is cleanable or like cardboard or something that you can just throw away. It would be foolish to just dump this into the tank on concrete where you could accidentally spill it because it will stain. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this all over the lawn right now. It's gonna kill everything. It's gonna take at least a couple weeks, possibly more, for the annual ryegrass to die off and some of the dicot weeds, like the undesirable weeds that are in the lawn. Not a whole lot, but those things will take some time to die off. Typically after you apply this, you need to apply it to a very dry lawn, or at least the leaf blades need to be really dry. I add a surfactant so I get better leaf coverage when I spray. So if I spray something, it's not gonna bead up, it's gonna actually coat the leaf. And then I'm gonna wait at least 2 days, if not 3 or 4, to mow the grass, because I wanna give as much time as possible for the leaf to suck the material in, like the herbicide in, bring it down into the root system so that the things die. The things that I want to die will die. After 2, 3, 4 days, then I'm gonna go ahead and take the lawnmower and cut it as low as I possibly can, put all of the clippings into a bag so I can get them off the lawn, and then I'm gonna let the desirable grass start growing taller so it overwhelms the dead material that's gonna show itself off in the next 7, 10, 14 days. Now, if you're curious what I did after I sprayed everything down to kill off that annual ryegrass, I waited 2 full days before I cut the grass. At that point, I cut the grass as low as I possibly could. I bagged all of the clippings, and then a couple days later, I came back and I used my power rake and I raked as heavily as I could to get as much of those annual ryegrass stems sticking upright so that I could cut them again. I then went into a pattern of mowing the grass as low as I possibly could with the bagger every couple days so that I was able to remove as much of the dying annual ryegrass and ryegrass stems as possible. At this point, not very much annual ryegrass remains. That doesn't really mean I'm changing my mowing patterns. I'm just going to continue on because that's what Bermudagrass likes also. All right, 15 days have gone by, and as you can see, the vast majority, I'd say like 95% plus of the annual ryegrass has been killed off. It's all brown. Everything that you see brown over there is dead annual ryegrass, or what is left of it. The green that you see is all, like 100% of it is Bermudagrass. Now, I don't want you to believe that 100% of the annual rye died, because that didn't happen. It's almost impossible to apply herbicides to something and kill everything. You'll get most of it though. See that? There's still some taller stragglers there remaining. I don't believe I'm gonna have to worry about those all that much. I'm just gonna let them die out as spring starts transitioning into summer. But as you look down on it, we now see all of the Bermuda grass is really starting to come alive again. It's gonna really start spreading quite a bit. The next main task in my spring Bermuda Care lawn care program really is to push this Bermuda grass to overtake the dead annual rye, and so that way I can have a nice super dark green lawn again. Look at my Kentucky bluegrass over there. That thing, that is wildly dark. I want this to match it. I'll certainly be fertilizing the grass to get that to happen, but I'm also going to be settling into a very regimented irrigation schedule. I do not overwater, and I do not water too often, but I do water with a purpose. I have videos about watering the lawn better linked in the description below. But the other primary way that I'm going to get this Bermudagrass lawn to take over the area again is through mowing. I'm going to be mowing frequently. Now up here in the corner, I got a video all about mowing the grass 2 times a week and why we do that. Make sure to watch that next if you want to have a better looking Bermuda lawn this year.